You clicked on this video because you're tired of posting videos on Instagram that barely get any views. You're doing everything right. You have a good setup, you have good lighting, you even have great editing, but for some reason, your videos on Instagram simply just don't take off. And every time you scroll, you see someone talking about hooks on Instagram like it's some magic formula. By the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how I write hooks on Instagram that consistently cross 1 million views. And you can literally copy my process step by step to make people stop scrolling and watch you instead. But here's how this video is different from every single how to write hooks tutorial that you've ever seen. This isn't just theory. This is the same system which I personally used to grow from 0 to 300,000 plus followers on Instagram and 0 to 75,000 plus subscribers on YouTube in just a matter of a year or so. And every single viral video that I made started with one very powerful hook. So if you've ever wondered why some creators go viral effortlessly while others struggle for years, this video will answer that once and for all. Let's get started. So point number one is the hook is not about you, it's not about the solution, it's about your audience's pain. So the mistake which I see a lot of creators make is, firstly, they'll try to make the hook about themselves. I achieved X, Y, and Z, I did X, Y, and Z, here's how I did X, Y, and Z. Or what they will do is they'll basically try to highlight the solution that the viewer is going to get by the end of the video. But what you have to understand is that in order to actually connect with your audience and for them to actually stop scrolling and watch your video till the end, because a lot of people like to talk about views, right? And a lot of people know this already, that views are certainly vanity metrics for quite a lot of people. But what you have to understand is, what if you could get 100,000 views, all from your ideal customers? How much is that worth for you? I'm not saying 100,000 views from your undesired viewers, as in people who are not really interested in your product. I'm talking about people who are engaged, people who already need that problem resolved, which you already do with your content and with your products. How much is that worth for you? So that's what we're going to be talking about, not just unintentional viewers who are not really interested in your product, in your offer, in your content. No, we're going to be talking about getting engaged viewers. I thought I'd highlight this before I even get started. We're going to be talking about views from your ideal customers. I want to genuinely ask you, how much is 100,000 impressions from your ideal customer worth for you? This is something that you need to understand. Now, the way that you need to be structuring your hook is you need to be focusing on your audience's pain. Now, as an example, if I was a fitness coach, I wouldn't make content or I wouldn't make hooks saying that this is how you lose weight. Okay. And I wouldn't make hooks saying that, here are 3 ways that you can lose weight. These are focused on the solution. They're not focused on the audience's pain. What I would do instead is I would be hyper specific about the topic that I'll be addressing in that video. I'm going to be making it very visual for the viewer. I'm going to spark their curiosity and I'm going to make them stop, because they're going to be looking at a hook which is new, it is easy to consume, it is safe, and it is big. Same formula that we apply to our offers as well. So how are we going to essentially do that as a fitness trainer? I'll present an example in front of you. If you are tired of not being able to fit in your favorite pair of blue jeans, watch this video till the end. Now, the reason this is so powerful and the reason this is so much better than simply just focusing on the solution, making a video saying that here are 3 ways that you can lose weight. No, focus on the audience's pain and make it super visual for them. If you're tired of not being able to fit in your favorite pair of blue jeans, now this is super visual, this is super specific. And every single fat person or overweight person is going to have that one specific piece of clothing that they're not able to fit into, and they want to fit into that. And if you can highlight that and make it super visual in their heads, their chances of actually watching your video till the end are going to increase quite a lot. And imagine if you could show this specific kind of hook in front of 100,000 of your ideal customers. How much is that going to be worth for you? I'm going to ask this question to you again, because we're not going to be speaking about vanity metrics here, and we're not going to be speaking about only highlighting our videos just for the sake of them being, mass shareable and them being the kinds of videos that everyone can watch. No, these are going to be hyper specific videos that are only going to be targeting your ideal customers. And this is something that I work with my clients on as well. I like to specifically help my clients with making sure that not only are we creating videos that are gathering a lot of impressions, but they're gathering impressions from their ideal customer. This is super important. And I've noticed that a lot of people do social media the completely wrong way. They're going to start creating content when they start getting apprehensive over the fact that they're not able to get views. They're going to start creating videos that are mass consumable by absolutely everyone. And what you're doing as a result of that is you are getting impressions, you are getting followers, you are getting views, but all of them are from the wrong kind of people. I want to ask you a genuine question. If I had the cure to cancer, right? If I had the cure to cancer and I started presenting that in front of 20 to 25-year-old young males, do you think that they would buy that product from me? Probably not, right? But what if I took that cure to cancer and showed it in front of an auditorium of 100,000 people who are all either interested in that cure or either have someone directly involved who is suffering from that specific problem? As an example, 100,000 people either have family members who have cancer, either have some kind of relative that has cancer, either genuinely want to know the cure for cancer. And if I had that product and if I was able to show that product in front of 100,000 people in an auditorium who all wanted the cure to cancer, do you think I'll be able to sell my product? Yes, because that solves the bleeding problem, and that is something which I want to cover on next. And we're going to be speaking about it in one of the later points, that you need to be making sure that you're solving bleeding problems and highlighting bleeding problems in your videos and specifically in your hooks as well, because they need to know that you're not some kind of generic creator who creates content for absolutely everyone. You create hyper targeted videos that are specific to your ICP. And again, I would ask this question to you again for the fourth time. How much is 100,000 impressions of your ideal customer really worth for you? This is something to think about. Now, the second point is that with your hooks in specific, you don't need to be clear, and clarity is not an important metric here. The most important metric is number one, curiosity, and number two, mystery. Now, you have to understand that clarity basically kills mystery. If you're being super clear with what they're going to be getting by the end of the video, you don't leave room for mystery. So as an example, if you lead with something super vague and generic, like here are 3 ways that you can start losing weight, that seems like the most boring vanilla shit hook that you can possibly use. And that basically kills the mystery. The first 3 seconds of your video should provoke your consumer. As an example, this is one of the best hooks that I've seen in recent times. And I know it's a little bit, rough on the edges, but I absolutely love this. And this instantly, made me stop scrolling and watch the video till the end. And that hook was, the best way to make money online is to be a hot girl and sell your pictures online. But the second best way is, now this is so creative. And again, I will lean over to the same principle which I've used in one of my other videos in which I explained how I grew an audience of 300,000 plus followers on Instagram. And that was, you need to integrate the same principle, which is cover letter inside cover letter. Now, what this essentially entails is you need to be making sure that absolutely every single line of your script is intentional. You need to make sure that every single one of the lines that you're using are being delivered in a way that is different to absolutely every other person in your niche except for your hooks. Now, you can reverse engineer hooks, and this is a practice which I would honestly encourage you to do. Whatever niche that you're in, whether it's, you're a chef, whether you're a personal trainer, whether you're a real estate agent, whatever niche you're in right now, I want you to use Instagram search feature, go and write your niche and start getting into this specific practice. And that is, search whatever niche you're in and you're going to come across a lot of videos. Now, some of those videos are going to be above 1 million views, right? I want you to basically collect all of these videos hooks And what I want you to do is whenever you create your content calendar, as an example, you post 6 videos per week, right? You post 6 videos per week. In the start, I need you to make sure that you're using 4 hooks from these kinds of videos where you have already tested the algorithm, your competitor has already tested the algorithm and verified for you that these hooks work. So you basically create videos around those hooks. You use the same hook, you use the same way that they said it, you use the same audio, and what you do is you create 4 of these videos per week. And with the other 2 videos, what you do is you essentially test with new hooks of yourself. Right? Like as an example, you might have an idea like this, and you can test with that idea. And as you go into it, as you start growing an audience, you're going to decrease these videos and you're going to increase these videos. Like those kinds of videos in which you're using your own hooks. But initially, what I want you to do is just copy the hooks of your competitors who have already tested the algorithm for you, so that you use the least amount of your time and you use your time the most effectively. And honestly, you don't need to break the wheel. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can instead just copy your competitors and just recreate content around what already works, and they've already done the hard work for you. Instead, what I want you to do is just put 75% of your effort into copying your competitors' stuff and 25% basically testing the algorithm yourself with your specific kinds of titles, with your specific kind of hooks, with your specific kinds of thumbnails, if that's for YouTube, but we're specifically talking about Instagram here. But you need to be making sure that in the start, you're copying a lot of your competitors. By the way, if you want my help with this kind of stuff, with growing your Instagram and monetizing it and attracting your ideal customers and getting high-ticket clients, just click the link down in the description. I personally was able to grow an audience of 300,000 plus on Instagram, and I was able to monetize that audience to 350 plus Skool community paying members and a lot of high-ticket clients as well. So click the link down in the description, book a free call with me or my team, and it would honestly be a pleasure for us to just look over your content, see what you're doing wrong, and you can see if it's a good fit for us to work together or not. Next, we're going to be talking about using specific numbers and contrast. The reason for that is because they basically trigger the brain. So as an example, there's a specific hook in front of you right now, and it says, if you're working 40 plus hours as an entrepreneur, you'll be broke in 2 years. Let me explain. Now, what does this specific hook essentially do? If you're working 40 plus hours as an entrepreneur, so that basically highlights the ICP. It basically highlights the problem that the ICP is facing. It focuses on the problem and not the solution. And it evokes the curiosity of the viewer by saying something which is, maybe against the industry standard, that you will be broke in 2 years. And let me explain. This evokes curiosity. This creates mystery, because the mass majority opinion is that working more essentially gets you much more results. Now, this specific hook is in case like you're a productivity expert for high-level entrepreneurs. You could use this hook to essentially forward your narrative, which is that if entrepreneurs work less and focused more on their family life and focused more on enjoying their life, their output in terms of the time that they do invest and in terms of the time that they put into their business, it's going to be quite a lot higher if they're a lot more relaxed. And you could, essentially use this hook to basically forward your narrative. So this is why it is so important. So just to recap, you need to be making sure that you're highlighting your ICP, you're highlighting and focusing on their problem, you're evoking their curiosity, and you're creating a little bit of an aura of mystery. Point number 4, wear your pants backwards. Now, what I essentially did with this point is I did 2 things. Number 1, I interrupted a pattern, and number 2, I conveyed my point, which is to break a rule. On Instagram, you need to be making sure that you're hijacking attention, because we live in an attention economy, and he who has attention basically has a big business. And you need to be making sure that you have attention on you. And you're going to be doing that by hijacking people's attention, by wearing your pants backwards and breaking rules. Now, you need to be making sure that you understand this to the core of your being, that people cannot scroll past conflict and they crave resolution. And that is a bar, my friend, write that down. Now, what that essentially means is when someone comes across, as an example, I want you to imagine you in between one of your doom scrolling sessions and you come across someone saying that the way to lose weight in 2025 is to wear your pants backwards. What is going to end up happening? There's going to be a certain bit of mystery that is going to be evoked. There's going to be a certain bit of curiosity there, and you're going to just stick around for that video just for the sake of hearing the presenter's basically solution or resolution towards that specific hook. So you need to be making sure that you're creating an aura of mystery, and you're creating a little bit of conflict in their heads when they scroll onto your video, and make sure that you make them stick till the end of the video so that their internal conflict is resolved as a result of your specific content. And I say this over and over again, the reason Instagram is super duper important is because when you're starting out, no one knows you. No one knows you exist. And if you start on YouTube, the amount of reps that you're going to be putting in are going to be quite a lot lower than the amount of reps that you can put on Instagram. And if you already have a base following on Instagram, even if that's like 10,000 followers, you can get that audience towards your YouTube channel pretty effortlessly. And the main thing that you need to be focusing on, because the amount of distribution on Instagram is quite a lot higher, is Instagram. Instagram is what is going to get people to know that you exist. And then you're going to be sending those people to your YouTube channel in order to, show them more about who you are, what you do, and, consume a lot more from you. Because for someone to actually consume your video on YouTube, they need to sit down and commit to watching it till the end. And when you start creating content on Instagram, you already create that base level of trust required for them to create that commitment in their head to actually sit down and consume you speaking for 40 minutes, for 30 minutes, or however long that may be. So that is why you need to be making sure that you start with Instagram, and you, my friend, wear your pants backwards. So now you know my exact framework for creating million view hooks. But don't just understand it, actually copy it. Literally take these 4 rules, apply them to your next 3 videos, and just see what happens. And remember this, people don't actually go viral just because they're lucky. They go viral because they understand human psychology. Attention isn't random, it's engineered. And if you want to learn how to engineer attention just like this, there's going to be a link down in the description to work with me. You can book a free strategy call, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. At the end, remember that for those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, there can be no mercy, my friend. There is but one rule: hunt or be hunted. Thanks for watching.